You might have heard that a good college essay topic is one that is extremely unique and super uncommon. But what if I told you that a common topic can still make for a great essay? I'm Tom Campbell, former highly selective admissions officer from Pomona College and College of the Holy Cross, and I'm here to tell you that admissions officers aren't evaluating your topic in a vacuum, meaning that just writing about speech and debate, which in itself has probably been written by millions of students at some point, won't cause your application to lose points. What won't do you any favors though is writing 650 generalized, nondescript words on how you used to be shy and speech and debate helped you gain confidence. Which, without any twists and turns, sounds like the plotline of a cheesy, coming-of-age Netflix original movie. In other words, common topics written predictably often make it harder for your college application to stand out. So what are some common essay topics? Here's a non-exhaustive list. Now, I'll be the first to admit that some of these are generally really tough to pull off, even if written originally, especially the sports ones. Sorry athletes, blame the formulaic writers who kinda ruined the party for everyone. But there are a few common topics that admissions officers would be eager to hear about, so long as you keep a few key tips in mind as you begin to brainstorm, outline, and draft your distinctive masterpiece. All right, let's explore some examples of common essay topics and how you can successfully write about them in ways that won't leave the admission officer filling in the story in their head before you even get to your artful conclusion. All right, topic number one, your roles and/or identities. Now, despite what you may think, it's totally okay to write about these in your college essays. In fact, it's celebrated. Many colleges ask shorter supplemental essays beyond your 650-word personal statement that's sent to all colleges that specifically ask you to reflect on the building blocks that make you who you are. So maybe that's your race, gender, culture, religion, ability, the type of leader you are, the list goes on, and how these roles and identities have shaped who you are and/or your future aspirations. But beyond these supplemental essays, it's a great personal statement topic in its own right. Even if lots of students before you have written about being Irish American or Muslim or from the Bay Area, or maybe even all three, hashtag intersectional, hashtag not talking about couches. The key, avoid writing an essay that simply describes your identity in more universal terms, or doesn't provide deeper insights or life lessons connected to it. For instance, if I was to write about my identity as growing up Catholic, how I went to Catholic school, attended church most Sundays, and learned values like love thy neighbor and thou shalt not kill, that'd be describing the experience of a whole lot of American Catholics. But let's say I started off my essay with a story, a true one by the way, of me pushing back against my parents for making me wear sneakers instead of sandals to church. Because according to my rationale, Jesus and his disciples were always pictured wearing sandals. And then I transitioned into how my faith background helped foster my curiosity and my ability to notice disparities in the world around me. Now that's an entirely different essay. The lesson here, focus on a specific moment or story where your identity took center stage and helped shape a core value or perspective that has guided your life. You can use this as an opportunity to discuss challenges you faced, how you navigated them, and the lasting impact these experiences had on your values and/or your goals. And ideally, you brainstorm some of the more unexpected connections between your roles and identities in your essay and other parts of who you are. So maybe that's how being Chinese, which is known to be a more collectivist culture, helped you somewhat ironically realize your own value of independence. Pro tip, you want to write about your identity in a way that shows its influence on you, and not just a description about the identity itself. Admission officers are interested in how you've reflected on your background and used it to grow. You want to avoid writing an essay that comes across as overly general or one that doesn't connect back to your personal journey. Now, if you need help finding the best way to describe yourself, we recommend completing our roles and identities exercise, which you'll find linked below. It's a great starting point for those of you who are not 100% sure about how to put your identities into words. All right, topic number two, immigration stories. According to the Migration Policy Institute, approximately 17% of the total immigrant population in the US are school-aged children, meaning that hundreds of thousands of potential college applicants could, in theory, write about this life-altering transition. When read about intentionally, this common topic can demonstrate growth in ways that not everyone can immediately relate to, especially those that have lived their whole lives in the same place. However, when written about generally, immigration stories can start to sound similar to one another. This is often because students emphasize a few of the same key adjustment milestones: moving to a new home, town, feeling out of place, and eventually learning to accept one's cultural heritage and one's new surroundings. The key, find a unique angle to emphasize and relate to your immigration experience. So instead of solely writing about surface level adjustments that you faced, like the difficulty fitting in or learning a new language, give specific memories or scenes that distinguish your story and make it particular to you. This will help your application stand out, as it will show how you overcame adversities from an unexpected lens and will help make your story a little more memorable to admission officers. For example, instead of just writing, "Growing up, I knew I was different. The other girls were blonde and delicate, and I was a swarthy 6-year-old with sideburns. I so badly wanted to be like the popular girls, all sitting together, talking, eating their Wonder Bread sandwiches," which is literally part of Tula's monologue from the early 2000s classic, My Big Fat Greek Wedding. If you haven't seen it yet, watch that one, but you can skip the sequels. And this is a pretty common lunchroom angle. Maybe talk instead about some of the ways you were able to calibrate customs or traditions from your home country into your new routine, and you learned the value of fusion. Or how some of the ways that you learn English beyond your ESL classes, like watching reruns of Desperate Housewives to better understand American colloquialisms, influenced your interest in linguistics. Side note, this is a real essay example from an international student who worked with me as a tour guide at Pomona. The more proper nouns and specific memories you can recall, the better. Pro tip, not sure how to find a unique topic, object, or experience to connect to your immigration story? Check out our Essence Object brainstorming exercise link below, which will help you fold in a little bit more of that unique edge. All right, topic number 3, your academic or intellectual interests. Now, just like the Desperate Housewives linguistics example I just shared, writing about your academic or intellectual curiosities or interests and the key memories and ways that you've refined those interests over time is sure to be a hit with admission officers, even though on paper, it's a common topic. Keep in mind though that your essay shouldn't read like a resume. This is where many students go wrong. Rather, it's one of the few chances to highlight the behind the scenes, formative stories behind those resume bullet points, rather than simply listing off a bunch of activities or programs that you participated in, which the admission officer will see from your activities list or potentially from your additional information section. Focus on what sparked your curiosity, how you cultivated it, moments where your eyes lit up in wonder by that subject, and how it shaped your personal growth or broader skills, qualities, values, or interests. The key, show the deeper why behind your academic interest. Maybe reflect on moments where your intellectual passions were challenged or they had to evolve. Then, highlight specific experiences that ignited your drive to explore them more deeply. For example, let's say that you enjoy volunteering and you decided to help out at a local food bank for the very first time. And during this experience, you connected with a few individuals in line and got a chance to hear about their stories and maybe their struggles. This led you to start wondering why some areas in your town struggle with food insecurity more than other areas. You then start researching public policy and economic systems to better understand the nature of food insecurity and food deserts, which led you to become interested in learning more about systemic inequalities in general and your pursuit of a major in public policy in hopes of alleviating such conditions in the future. Overall, the goal is to showcase how your curiosity drives you to connect ideas, ideally ones from multiple disciplines, and engage with the world on a deeper level. The icing on the cake is if you can connect your insights and your curiosities to some sort of area of initiative or impact that you took, whether that's pursuing classes or educational opportunities outside of your standard school offerings, starting a club or organization to get others to share in the joy of the subject, or uncovering a social cause that you've started to commit yourself to addressing. Pro tip, limit these formative moments to 4 or less, rather than trying to list off every single academic pursuit related to your intended major. Oftentimes, college essay guides montage structure, which is where you talk about 3 to 4 key experiences related to your academic interest that showcase different values, can bring your intellectual journey to life for the reader and not have the essay come across as one note. You can learn more about the montage structure and how to pull it off effectively from our blog below, How to Write a College Essay, the Ultimate Step-by-Step Guide. All right, topic number 4, substantial personal and/or family challenges, such as divorce. Now, side note, many students have the false impression that admission officers are sitting there craving essays where someone dumps all their trauma onto them. And I can tell you from experience, having read and evaluated thousands of essays and applications, that you do not need to do this to be admitted to a top college. If revisiting dark or heavy personal challenges are really painful to you, we wouldn't recommend doing that in the spirit of your own emotional health and wellness. Side note, we have several resources on why you don't have to write about trauma in your college essay to stand out, which you'll find linked below if you want to explore this nuance further. All this said, if you feel energized and/or emotionally prepared to reflect on a significant life challenge in your college essay, it can often be a compelling way to reveal your identity, values, or unique perspective to an admission reader. And yes, even experiences that are relatively common, such as divorces, which is nearly how half of marriages end in the US, can provide unique insights into your adaptability, your growth, and your personality traits that will positively impact your future college campus. The key? Avoid presenting the story in a way that feels overly negative or pity-seeking, or centers on, you guessed it, typical pragmatic details. So instead of ending your essay with, "and that's why I still hate my brother," you want to focus on how the challenge, in this case your roller coaster sibling relationship, helped you develop maybe resilience, awareness, a unique worldview, or a focus toward the future that has more of an optimistic outlook. Another example, this time with divorce. In your essay, don't simply recount the common logistical challenges of balancing two households. So splitting your time between two places, missing having both parents together under one roof, feeling sad for your younger siblings, or the inconvenient commute from house to house across town. These details wouldn't distinguish you from most other children of divorce. Instead, center your essay on the contrasts of the two households. Maybe one is with a straight-laced finance executive mom, while the other is with a more freewheeling bohemian dad who lives in his RV and is constantly blaring Grateful Dead. You could explore how you've come to integrate both household influences into your own unique identity. Pro tip, be mindful of how you discuss other people involved in your essay and avoid painting individuals in an overly negative light. Remember that your essay is often the reader's first impression of you, and so you don't want to come across as someone who constantly points the fingers at other people, rather than taking agency on how you can improve your own circumstances, regardless of how difficult they are. Also, keep in mind that this essay is about you, not your parents or anyone else involved in your story, like that brother that you still hate. You want to focus again on your personal growth and the lessons that you've gained from navigating these experiences. All right, topic number 5, how someone else, like a grandparent, inspired you. Now, whether it's a celebrity or a Nobel Peace Prize winner or Mima, writing about someone who has had a strong impact on your worldview is totally fine. Just be sure not to only list out their accomplishments or only discuss why you admire them and have that be your whole essay. Make sure to keep the essay topic about you. At the beginning of your essay, provide brief context about the person who inspired you and keep it under about 1/3 of your overall word count. The rest of the essay should center on what they inspired you to do or who they inspired you to be. You want your essay to focus on how your hero's actions, values, or experiences have shaped your growth, interests, and perspective in ways that you wouldn't have expected if that person didn't come into your life or you didn't know about them. You'll do this by connecting your own experiences and lessons to your hero's story. For instance, let's say that you feel connected to Muhammad Ali and how he impacted both boxing and the civil rights movement during his lifetime. Instead of solely focusing on Muhammad Ali, you can connect how your journey contending for a leadership position in a gaming club was a journey that had unexpected twists and turns that provided you with character growth opportunities. Pro tip, in general, there's a reason why this common topic can be a little risky because many students end up writing more about the hero than themselves. And topic number 6, mission trip and or meaningful service experiences. Okay, confession, I actually wrote my college essay about a mission trip to Haiti, which is where my dad does humanitarian work full time. And at the time when I was a high school student, I thought it was a really unique experience that would help showcase my values of compassion, empathy, and using my unique gifts and strengths, in my case, artwork that I created for local school children, to bring joy to other people's lives. And while I wasn't wrong, I learned years later while working in college admissions that there are ways to tell these stories that puts personal growth at the center, and there are other ways to write the story that can leave you appearing naive, out of touch, or possibly even offensive. For instance, if you write an essay about visiting an orphanage in Honduras for a week during your school spring break, and 600 words are about the trip itself, while 50 or so words in the conclusion are about how privileged and lucky you are to live the life that you live, this is a bit of a missed opportunity to talk about the ways that the trip opened your eyes up to global poverty, and ideally the ways that you work to combat other injustices, maybe ones that are parallel to what you witnessed there, in your own community upon your return home. All this to say, a mission trip or volunteering experience can be a solid essay topic, even if it's more statistically common, but admission officers are generally more interested in hearing about how these experiences have left a lasting impact on your values and actions rather than an overly dramatized retelling of the poverty you witnessed on the trip itself. The key, focus more on the transformed you post-trip rather than the you during or before the trip, which can be briefly contextualized in the beginning of your essay. Perhaps you write about some of the obstacles that you overcame to implement initiatives that you took on post-service trip and the lasting impact that they had on you and the community that you aim to serve. For example, say during one such trip, you volunteered at a school that had only outdated resources, and this inspired you to collect and donate up-to-date educational materials and share them with schools in your surrounding community that face similar issues, and how educational inequity more broadly is something that you're interested in pursuing in college. In your essay, you're better off focusing on the challenge that you faced while starting this initiative, how you overcame them, leveraging your own skills and talents, and the impact that you left on your community because of this initiative. Pro tip, this might be a great chance to highlight your leadership skills or approach, or your problem-solving capabilities, and not just your gratitude for your own privilege. Also, be mindful of how you're describing the communities that you've helped by not using language that promotes exclusion, xenophobia, or judgment. Regardless of the nature of your mission or service trip, you don't want to accidentally come across as judgmental or maybe even bigoted or out of touch to admission readers. All right, friends, longest YouTube video short. Don't rule out an essay topic automatically just because someone's written about it in some way, shape, or form before, or you saw it on some list of common topics. Instead, spend your time recalling and reflecting on those core memories, just like the movie Inside Out, and allowing those to be the window into who you are, what you value, and how you aim to use your college experience to leave the world around you better than you found it. If some of those experiences and memories are able to be channeled into your common essay topic, you're well on your way to a solid and standout college application. All right, friends, thank you as always for tuning into the College Essay Guy YouTube channel. All the links to the resources and exercises I mentioned should be in the video description that you see below. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you keep getting quality, vetted, juicy College Essay Guy content for the rest of your process. Goodbye.